Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. I want to talk about law enforcement and how it applies to counterterrorism. Now, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. When you expect law enforcement to protect you from people that mean you harm in the way of terrorism, you are expecting way too much. Okay, now let me explain what terrorism is. And the reason is you need to know and understand this to realize the situation that we're in. Okay, terrorism. We are facing, for one thing, Bush said the war on terror. That was a big screw up, in my opinion. For one thing, when you start talking the war on terror, you are talking about a war that has no end. You'll never be able to stop terrorism. I'm in the counterterrorism business. Terrorism has been going on since the beginning of time, and it will continue on to the end of time. When he mentioned the war on terror, what he did was he established that they, as the government, is going to start eliminating our liberties and freedoms. And they're doing it by justifying it in the way of terror. They're going to control terrorism. That's what the idea of. That's the reality of what he was saying. Okay, but that's a whole other issue. Really, what I want to talk about is what is true terrorism. Okay, now what it is when someone of different beliefs wants to push their beliefs on others. There's different ways of doing it. We can talk about it. We can vote on it. We can get our fist out and beat on each other and figure it all out. That's what we used to do when we were kids. You had a problem, you just go fist it out with somebody, and then your problem get worked out. Nowadays, and that's what boys would do to learn to be a man, because men did that same thing. Okay, now what's happened is there are a bunch of wussies, and they can't take on the establishment. So what they do is they scare and strike fear in the population. And then the population will, I guess they just lose their liberties until they're communists. I mean, that's why the communists take over. They cause chaos. And then once they got chaos going, then they can take control. Now, and that's what the idea of the terrorism is. They want to cause chaos. And the only way they can do it is striking the unarmed public. Now, the one big difference in the United States public and the rest of the world is, other than the wimpy places in the United States, there's places in the United States that we carry guns. And so when you start doing your activities, your terrorist activities, we can counter it. And it's not nice. And that's the one thing we've been pushed in believing we need to be nice. And but nice isn't the way you win wars. And these terrorists that have decided to declare war on us need to understand some of us can handle war. And and I understand a handful of these terrorists thinks they're going to do all this stuff, but it's going to get even larger than that. And we need to be prepared to handle larger things than that. I don't want to jump the gun on what's going on, because, like I say, the mental mentality of the American public isn't ready for all this. The realities that's just within arm reach of us. But you have to understand there's going to be people that are going to want to try to harm us in the way of us as unarmed, weak citizens. And for all you unarmed, weak citizens, you probably don't like listening to all this. But like I say, not everybody is unarmed weak. And I mentioned before, the weak will perish. But like I say, we do need to understand and realize this is a problem we're going to have to deal with. You're not ready to take the extremes that you're going to need to handle these types of threats yet, but you will. So keep your mind open and be ready to put your morals to the test. Fighting terrorists is not pretty. It's not something that I welcome at all. I've mentioned before, I'm against violence, and I'm against violence so much that I'll beat the hell out of people that want to do it. I'm not the only one. The only thing is, we need to don't lose our cools. We need to prepare to communicate with others. We need to be prepared to stand strong. And above all, we need to have strong morals. And that doesn't mean turning the other cheek. Sometimes we have to do what we have to do. This is Mike. NoStressMike.com.